Stop buying gear for your home lab. Seriously, just stop because you're doing it backwards. People comment on my videos all the time asking if they should buy a Cisco 2960 or a 3750, or if they need a 2911 or a 4331 router. But those are the wrong questions. They're focused on devices when they should be focused on design. Because this is how real network engineers actually work. We don't start by buying equipment. We start with requirements. We figure out what the network needs to do. We design around those needs, and then we choose the hardware that fits that design. The difference between a home lab that actually teaches you networking and one that just wastes your time and money isn't the gear, it's the architecture. Today, I want to show you how to design your home lab like a real network architect, not like someone just collecting equipment. And if you do this right, you'll be a lot more prepared for real network engineering jobs. Most people build home labs the same way. They grab a couple switches, a router, connect everything together, and just start configuring things. Some random VLANs here, some routing here, maybe a firewall if they're feeling ambitious. And don't get me wrong, that's great. You're learning commands, you're getting hands-on. That part matters a lot. But what's missing is structure. Real networks aren't random devices connected together. Okay, well, sometimes they are, but good networks aren't. They're designed with intent. There's hierarchy. There's a reason things are placed where they are. And when you skip that part in your home lab, you miss how networks actually work in production. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've been on the hiring side. When someone talks about their home lab in terms of design and architecture, not just what gear they bought, they stand out immediately. So, what does it actually mean to think like a network architect? It means you stop thinking in device models and start thinking in layers. Most enterprise networks are designed around layers, the most common being the three-tiered campus design. It breaks the network into three sections: the core, distribution, and access layers. The core sits at the top of the network. Its job is to move traffic fast and connect different parts of the network together. In a home lab, this is typically a layer 3 switch or a router handling inter VLAN routing and upstream connectivity. This is also where you connect your upstream network. In a home lab, that's probably going to be your modem. Below that is the distribution layer. This is where routing decisions and policy start to matter. This is where you aggregate access layer switches, control traffic between VLANs, and add redundancy. In a home lab, this might be one or two switches where you practice trunking, ether channel, and gateway redundancy. At the edge is the access layer. This is where devices actually connect to the network. Computers, phones, printers, access points. In a home lab, these are your edge switches where you configure access ports, VLAN membership, and basic security features like port security. Now, in most home networks and small labs, the core and distribution layers are often combined into a single device. That's called a collapsed core. Choosing a collapsed core isn't cutting corners. It's an architectural decision. It has real benefits and drawbacks, and understanding those trade-offs matter a lot. The benefit is cost and simplicity. Fewer devices, fewer links, less power, and less complexity. For home labs and smaller environments, that's often the right choice. The drawback is reduced separation, redundancy, and flexibility compared to a full three-tier system. But that's a trade-off real networks make all the time. When you can explain why you chose a collapsed core, even if the reason is a budget, you're thinking like a real network architect. Cost, complexity, and risk are part of a real network design. So when you eventually look at a production network diagram, it actually makes sense. You're not learning from scratch. You're recognizing patterns you've already worked with. And this is where it really starts to pay off. When you can start talking about your home lab in terms of architecture, not just configs or technologies, the conversation changes. You're not saying, I configured VLANs. You're saying, I designed a segmented network with defined roles and traffic flow. That tells people you understand why network exists, not just how to type commands. After you start thinking in layers, use the same design approach for the rest of the configuration. VLANs shouldn't be random numbers. You segment by function. Users in one VLAN, servers in another, management traffic is isolated. IP addressing becomes intentional. Your addressing is based on design and scale. How many IPs do you actually need instead of defaulting to a /24 everywhere just because it's easy? Security stops being an afterthought. Think about where a firewall actually belongs and why. Think in terms of security zones, not just rules. You're no longer memorizing commands, you're designing solutions. Here's how you actually apply this to a home lab. And no, you don't need expensive gear. Packet Tracer, GNS3, EVE-NG, all work fine. The concepts will transfer perfectly. All right, so start with a layer 3 device handling inter VLAN routing and upstream connectivity. Add a distribution function where you practice redundancy. 2 devices, redundant links, HSRP or VERP, maybe Ethernet channel. Then add an access layer where devices connect multiple VLANs, port security, DHCP snooping, basic access controls. Connect the layers with trunk links, pick a routing protocol, and be able to explain why you chose it. Build it like a real network, not a diagram you found in a tutorial. What you end up with isn't just a lab, it's a designed network. If this sounds more complex than what you're doing now, that's kind of the point. Real networks are complex. Practicing realistic designs now saves you a lot of confusion later. When you design your lab this way, your resume changes without you even trying. You're not listing configured VLANs. You're describing design decisions, redundancy, segmentation, security, and more importantly, you can explain why you made those choices. Those are the conversations that get people hired. Once your lab is designed properly, the next step is securing it. Security isn't something you bolt on later. It's part of the design now. I've got a video on port security that walks through locking down the access layer the right way. Watch that one next. And if you want to learn networking the right way, not just pass exams, but actually understand how networks are built, hit subscribe. I hope that helped, and don't forget to follow me, you nerds.